Hey guys, Bios and Ramos, and the Miami Dolphins are back out on the road, this time traveling to Cleveland to play the Browns. Probably just as bad of a team as the Dolphins. Both teams sit at 1-5, so not looking good for either team so far this season. Game kicks off at 1 p.m. this October 19th on Sunday. Game will be played at Huntington Bank Field in Cleveland, right off of Lake Erie. And let's not waste too much time. Let's talk about some gambling odds, ESPN's matchup predictor, injuries, and then we'll talk about keys to victory. First and foremost, gambling lines. The Browns are favored by 2.5 points. Over under set at 37.5. And then the Browns are favored with a minus 145 money line. Meanwhile, the Dolphins are at plus 125. According to ESPN's matchup predictor, the Dolphins are favored to win this one at 51.7%. Meanwhile, the Browns are sitting at a 47.9% chance. So what does ESPN know that Vegas doesn't? All right, let's keep it moving. Let's talk about some injuries. Let's start with the Dolphins since they are on the road. Jason Sanders still on injured reserve with his hip injury, but it says he's close to returning to action, but who knows when he will be activated, but not in the foreseeable future, aka this upcoming game. Moving on from that, we have Jordan Brooks, linebacker. He is questionable for a neck injury. Tyrell Dodson, linebacker, is questionable for concussion. Elijah Campbell, safety, is questionable for quadriceps injury. Dante Trader Jr., safety. Aaron Brewer, guard, and Darren Waller are all listed as questionable with undisclosed injuries. And then Darren Waller, tight end, is questionable with a hip/rest. That's pretty much been his status ever since he suited up for the Miami Dolphins that first game against the Jets. Moving on from that, same type of status on some of the offensive linemen that have been out for this Miami Dolphins team. Liam Eichenberg, offensive tackle, is out with an undisclosed injury. Austin Jackson, guard, still on injured reserve with his toe injury. Same thing for James Daniels, guard, with his pectoral injury. Aside from that, no real updates to tell you guys about from previous weeks. Moving on, we have the Cleveland Browns, who have a question mark right now surrounding former Miami Hurricane David Njoku, tight end. He is dealing with a knee injury. A lot of people are saying, in terms of fantasy-wise, to pick up Harold Fanning might be a big-time move for them. Dolphins' defense has been very lackluster in covering tight ends. Keeping it moving, we have Blake Whiteheart, tight end, questionable with a shoulder injury. Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver, questionable for knee injury. Let's see, Shelby Harris, defensive tackle, is questionable. Deshaun Watson, QB, is listed as out, but there's no real update so far on his Achilles injury, aside from the fact that he was either spotted or there was a video of him throwing. I think he published it. I'm not too sure. He's back out throwing. So not going to be in for this game. They're rolling right now with Dylan Gabriel. Let's see if Shedeur Sanders finds his way onto the field at some point. Keeping it moving, we have Myles Garrett, defensive end, questionable. No status on his injury here. Mike Hall Jr., defensive tackle, is questionable. Same thing for Cam Robinson, offensive tackle. He's questionable for knee injury. Gage Lavardin, wide receiver, is questionable with a concussion. Jack Conklin, offensive tackle, is questionable for concussion. Joe Tyron Shinoka, defensive end, is out with a hip injury, listed as questionable currently. And that dates back pretty much to the beginning of October, so not going to go too deep after that point. So let's talk about this matchup at hand. The Miami Dolphins, not looking good. But I will say this. The one thing I will say about this Miami Dolphins team is they've lost 5 straight one-possession games. If you inverse, my apologies, 4 straight one-possession games. You inverse that score. You inverse that result. We're possibly looking at a 4-2 team. So it's very different when the results aren't working out. So I just want to put that in perspective for a lot of these Dolphin fans who aren't really satisfied with the performance and calling for the heads of the general manager, the coach, etc. I can understand the frustration. I can understand, you want results. But at this point, 1-5, things are not looking great for this Miami Dolphins team. Own turmoil within the own organization is happening. Tua is calling out fellow teammates for missing out on player-only meetings, and then walked it back just recently and pretty much issued a public apology for it, which I don't like that he went out and did that, but at the same time, in the fact of doing it, I like that the apology was just as loud as, the scrutiny for what he did. So you got to respect that in some sense, but at the same time, I definitely feel like someone was pushing his hand there and being like, hey, you need to go out and do this, which I can understand. It needs to help absolve any issues that may be happening there. Anyways, let's talk about the matchup at hand and how the Miami Dolphins can find a way to win here. First and foremost, be protective of the football. Cannot afford having 3 interceptions once again. Tua. I hate to be, just pounding on him right now, but it's true. You can't go out, throw 3 interceptions, and then point fingers at people who are skipping on team meetings. Maybe, just maybe. I know the first one wasn't really on him, but the other 2, definitely just bad reads, bad throws by Tua. The last one, I'm not going to, say, it was desperation time, but it was, he 5 seconds left in the game. You just got the ball back after the Chargers milked all the rest of the clock. And, so not the easiest spot to be in, but got to perform better if you really want to criticize other teammates. So with that being said, have a clean game, no interceptions, no turnovers, at least on the offensive side of the ball. And, go out, throw 3 touchdowns. If you're going to go for the win, you got to go out, throw 3, maybe 4 touchdowns. And this is against a reputable Browns defense. So that's something that will be tough, but I think they can get it done. Defensively, there's a rookie at quarterback, and the second string is also a rookie. So if he comes in, same situation. Get after the quarterback. The Miami Dolphins lost that game, aside from Tua throwing the interceptions, by not being able to bring down Justin Herbert. He makes a miraculous play, extends a drive, and gets them in field goal range, specifically like McConkey did. But without that play by Herbert, evading that sack, switching the ball from his left hand back to his right hand, the Chargers probably would have lost that game if just Phillips would have just brought him down, So they need to get to the quarterback, get sacks. This Browns team has let up a lot of sacks. So if the Dolphins can't commit on those sacks and get those, make him scared to pass the ball, it's not going to be great. It's not going to be good. Last but not least, just there needs to be some type of better approach to the game plan. The previous week against the Panthers, barely ran the ball. Now, inversely, ran the ball a lot against the Chargers. It worked out pretty well. Devon Achane did pretty well for himself in this last game. So I would love to see more of that. It's going to help be complementary to Tua and, not really put the ball in his hands too much to allow these interceptions to be thrown because, not going to lie, he's been throwing a lot of them this season. But that's pretty much it. Protect the football offensively, specifically in the passing game. Get after the quarterback. Run the dang ball, McDaniel. If you want to keep your job, you run the dang ball. One more thing about that is this game is regarded as who's getting fired first. I definitely do believe whoever loses this game ends up getting fired. But aside from that, maybe someone who wins this game gets fired because of winning, You'll never really see that, but it's kind of one of those what if type of situations in the NFL. A team that kind of wants to lose and doesn't go out and lose definitely can be jeopardizing for the way the ownership and management wants to go about the season moving forward. But that's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.